Today's video is brought to you by a donation from a subscriber. He wanted to know what happened to Oprah Winfrey. When it comes to the American dream, Oprah has definitely attained it. A success story with humble beginnings and now an icon known worldwide. With her own television network, her own production studios, and backing multiple charities and causes, Oprah has become a beacon of hope for Black Americans. Her life on the surface seems perfect until I dug deeper and saw a dark past. Startling evidence of Oprah being a race hustler, a lesbian, and a former prostitute, among other things. Alright, so let's take a look at what happened to Oprah Winfrey. Now in this video there's some bullet points that I want to discuss. The first is rise to fame, race hustler, the real Oprah, did you know, what happened to Oprah, and lastly, my final thoughts. Now let's look at her rise to fame. In 1971, Oprah got a part-time job as a newscaster on Nashville WVOL radio station. In 1973, Oprah was hired by WLAC-TV as a news anchor and reporter. She did that so well that in 1976, at the age of 22, she was recruited to co-anchor the 6 p.m. news at WJZ-TV in Baltimore. But Oprah became too emotionally involved in the stories and later got fired. In 1984, Chicago television station WLS-TV hired her to take over a failing half-hour talk show, and within the year, her AM Chicago became Chicago's hottest local show, and it was soon expanded to an hour. The next year, it was renamed The Oprah Winfrey Show, and in 1986, it went nationwide, and its popularity mushroomed. The Oprah Winfrey Show aired from 1986 to 2011, a total of 25 seasons. In 1988, she established Harpo Studios, a production facility in Chicago, making her the third woman in the American entertainment industry to own her own studio. Oprah starred in The Color Purple. Her performance in the film earned her an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress and nominations for a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress. Oprah created the Angel Network, which was founded in 1997. It is a program that encourages people around the world to make a difference. The network provided 150 scholarships through the Boys and Girls Clubs of America and got some 200 volunteers to build homes with Habitat for Humanity. Oprah created an all-girls school in Africa called the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls. Oprah created the Oprah Winfrey Foundation. It was founded in 2007 and was created to support the empowerment, education, and health of women, children, and families. What makes this organization unique is that people cannot donate to this organization because it's funded by an endowment. In 2014, Oprah starred in the movie Selma. On January 1st, 2011, Oprah launched her own U.S. television network called the Oprah Winfrey Network. Now let's talk about Oprah being a race hustler. So in this article it says Oprah Winfrey is delusional about racism, white and black. The tenets of lip think. One of which is that anyone opposed to the policies of one President Obama is, by definition, a racist. A second is that only whites can be racist. Another is that no black person, anywhere, at any time, and under any circumstances, can be a racist. And now, courtesy of none other than Oprah Winfrey, those white racists need to die for America to enter racial Shangri-La. And then we have the Huffington Post, where again they report Oprah saying, old racists just have to die to further racial progress. She's quoted saying, there are still generations of people, older people, who who were born and bred and marinated in that prejudice and racism, and they just have to die, she claims. The reporter then asked the question if it ever crossed her mind that President Obama has faced racism. Oprah responds by saying, "Probably, it's crossed my mind more times than it's crossed your mind." Oprah replied, "I think that there is a level of disrespect for the office that occurs, and that occurs in some cases and maybe even more cases because he is African American. There's no question about that, and it's the kind of thing nobody ever says, but everybody's thinking it." Then we have the article from The Hollywood Reporter stating that the Oprah Winfrey racism story is untrue, says sales clerk at Center of Media Storm. The anonymous sales clerk accused of racism by Oprah Winfrey is fighting back by way of newspaper interview in which she says the media tycoon is lying about an incident that occurred in the Swiss store recently. And she says as a result, she has been thrust in a media-infused nightmare that has left her feeling powerless. "I don't know why she's making these accusations. She's so powerful, and I'm just a shop girl," the sales clerk told the Swiss newspaper. The clerk, who has not revealed her name, was responding to a story Winfrey told last month during an interview with Larry King. Winfrey said that while in Switzerland for Tina Turner's wedding, a sales clerk at a boutique refused to show her a $38,000 handbag, presumably because she is black, so she probably couldn't afford it. Instead, the clerk showed her a cheaper line of Jennifer Aniston handbags. "I say to the woman, I'd like to see that bag on the shelf, and she says, no, that one's too expensive. I'll show you this one." She did, Winfrey says. She says in the interview it was a really interesting incident where she was directly confronted with racism. But the anonymous sales clerk has decided to dispute Winfrey's story. "This is not true. This is absurd. I would never say something like that to a customer. Really, never. Good manners and politeness are the alpha and the omega in this business. It is absolutely not true that I declined to show her a bag on racist grounds. I even asked her if she wanted to look at the bag," the woman said. "I didn't hurt anyone. I don't know why someone as great as her must cannibalize me on TV. If it had all taken place as she claimed, why has she not complained the next day at the wedding of Tina Turner with Trudy Goetz, my boss? She was there also at the Turner wedding as a guest. I don't understand it. I spoke to Oprah Winfrey in English. My English is okay, but not excellent. Unfortunately, I didn't know who she was when she came into the store. That wouldn't have made a difference if I had." CNN reports luxury store apologizes to Oprah. Luxury store Hermes on Wednesday apologized to Oprah Winfrey for turning her away last week, saying that its Paris store was close to set up for a public relations event when the talk show host stopped by. The store said the incident occurred on June 14th around 6:45 p.m., about 15 minutes after the store closed. It said Winfrey and her team arrived at a time when a private PR event was being set up inside. Harpo Production spokeswoman Michelle McIntyre and Winfrey will discuss her crash moment when her show returns from hiatus in September. Crash is a film dealing with race relations. The phrase crash moment refers to situations where a party feels discriminated against on the basis of skin color. Here's an episode of The Oprah Show from 1988 where Oprah is interviewing skinheads. I do recommend you go and check this video out. It just goes to show you that Oprah, from the beginning, has been playing a victim of racism, and she's an opportunist when it comes to pulling the race card. Oprah is a true race hustler. Now let's talk about the real Oprah. Alright, so in this article from the New York Post it says, lesbian flings, prostitution, and abuse lies. Oprah's hidden life. Oprah Winfrey, who built a billion-dollar empire persuading everyone from celebs to average Joes to reveal the truth about themselves, is a big phony when it comes to her own past and explosive new book charges. Winfrey's relationship with longtime love Stedman Graham, her reputed dirt poor upbringing in rural Mississippi, Her rumored lesbian crushes on women such as Diane Sawyer all are stories she has manipulated for decades in the name of sensational ratings, according to writer Kitty Kelly's latest unauthorized biography, Oprah. The much anticipated book details how Winfrey concocted stories about sexual abuse she suffered as a child and grossly exaggerated the poverty she was brought up in. She went to great lengths to conceal her lesbian affairs, including hefty payoffs, and publicly attach herself to Graham to appear more normal to her audience of housewives. She lavished romantic gifts, including a diamond toe ring on ABC talkhead Diane Sawyer. Winfrey sold her body to earn extra money and has even described herself as a teen prostitute. She doesn't know the true identity of her biological father. Her relationship with her own mother is so cold that Winfrey won't even let the older woman have her phone number. Winfrey was born in Kosciuszko, Mississippi in 1954, and the way she likes to tell it, she was so impoverished that she never had any dresses or dolls and had to adopt 2 cockroaches as pets, naming them Melinda and Sandy. But her family says that's nonsense. She may not have been well off, but Oprah was relatively spoiled as a little girl, her cousin says. Where Oprah got the nonsense about growing up in filth and roaches, I have no idea, said the relative Catherine Carr Esters. I've confronted her and asked, why do you tell such lies? Oprah told me, that's what people want to hear. The truth is boring. A friend of Esther's added that the manipulation of her past is a key to her success. Every move is calculated to further her brand and lift her image, which is why she does good works, Jewett Battles said. As a teen, Winfrey was a wild child, promiscuous to the point of prostitution, her relative said. The future star would steal from her mother's purse, pawn her jewelry, and even turn tricks. She was eventually sent to live in Nashville with Vernon Winfrey, who was her mother's former lover and who is listed on her birth certificate as her father. He has been described as a domineering disciplinarian who set her straight. Later, determined to become rich and famous, Winfrey was ready to change her story to her advantage, making sure she cultivated her image as an every woman, the book alleges. At one point, the rumors included See Me Talk at ABC about a relationship between Winfrey and Sawyer when Oprah worked there. Employees there described giggly late-night phone calls and a series of lavish gifts from Winfrey, including gigantic sprays of orchids and a 1-carat diamond toe ring to Sawyer. Despite such rumors, Kelly concludes Winfrey is asexual. Still, she quotes sources describing how in 1989, Winfrey was insistent on paying Tim Watts, an ex-boyfriend, $50,000 to keep quiet about her lesbian affairs and the fact that her brother, who died of AIDS, was gay. Landscape architect James Van Sweden of O, who spent years working for the couple, said he planned to design a space for a wedding in front of their new estate, but knew immediately after watching them together that they would never be a wedding. Oprah keeps Stedman around because she wants her audience to accept her as a normal woman with a man in her life. But from what I saw during those 4 years, I can tell you there's nothing there with Stedman. Nothing at all, he said. He's simply a fixture in her life, Van Sweden added. Window dressing. According to her father Vernon, Oprah admitted that she was not in love with Stedman. I'm in like, not in love, she told him, according to the book. She did reportedly have one affair with a man, Entertainment Tonight's John Tesh, while the two were working in Nashville. According to Tesh's ex, he broke things off because he couldn't deal with the stigma of being in an interracial couple. He said one night he looked down and saw his white body next to her black body and couldn't take it anymore, the ex said. He walked out in the middle of the night. Vernon Winfrey says he's been dismayed by how Oprah plays fast and loose with the truth. She may be admired by the world, but I know the truth, he says. So does God and so does Oprah. 2 of us remain ashamed. Vernon reserves his harshest words for Winfrey's best friend, Gayle King, who put the kibosh on the biography he was working on. Calling her a dirt hog and a street heifer, he blames King for a rift in his relationship with Oprah. She's become too close to that woman, Gail, he says. King and others in Oprah's entourage worked hard to keep a tight grip on employees in order to keep her out of the tabloids. I thought I would be working for the warm and fuzzy person I saw on television, a former employee at Winfrey's Harpo production company said. But God, I was conned. It's a cult at Harpo. So oppressive, it's frightening. Perhaps the biggest secret of the book is left a secret. Oprah allegedly does not know the true identity of her father. Esther's told Kelly who he is on the condition she not publish the information until Winfrey's mother comes clean to her daughter. And you'll know when that happens because Oprah will probably have a show on finding her real father, Esther said. As I said, the girl wastes nothing. So here we have an article from the Daily Beast called Inside the Bizarre Oprah, Stedman, and Gail Triangle. So here, Oprah's stepmother, Barbara Winfrey, insinuates that Oprah and Gail are lesbian lovers. Barbara continues by saying that after 14 years of marriage to Oprah's father, Vernon, she is being forced out of her marital home by Oprah, leaving her homeless. Barbara then reveals that Oprah had Stedman followed. Barbara's assessment of it all: once you're in Oprah's world, she owns you. She goes on to say that Stedman is like an old shoe to Oprah. In all the years that she's known Oprah and Stedman, she's never seen them hold hands and kiss. Apparently, it was once different, with Barbara recounting a story she had heard from Oprah's father about a road trip with the couple when Oprah was much more touchy-feely with Stedman. But then, she became this powerful person and things changed. The balance switched, she says. She goes on to say that the Gail thing is weird, like really weird. They talk on the phone 3 or 4 times a day, Barbara says, and Stedman has had to learn to be okay with that. I can only say what I saw and observed over the years. Gail was more present than Stedman. So here we have an image of Oprah and Gail, who are practically inseparable. Here is Oprah's stepmother, Barbara Winfrey, who faced eviction. Here's a picture of Oprah and Stedman. Barbara reveals that she never witnessed any PDAs between Oprah and Stedman. No kissing, no holding hands. Their relationship was comfortable, she claims. Again, here's a picture of Barbara Winfrey and the home she was evicted from. So here we have Oprah and Gayle King. Here we have a picture of Oprah and Barbara Winfrey from 2004. Alright, so in this section I have some interesting things that I want to share with you guys. The first is that Oprah won Miss Black Nashville and Miss Tennessee in her first year of college. When she was 14, she had a child, but her child died when it was just an infant. Her parents were unmarried teens and she was born in a low-income area. Allegedly, Oprah was a victim of sexual abuse from the age of 9 to 14. In 2013, Winfrey donated $12 million to the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture. President Obama awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom later that same year. So here are some of the charities and foundations that Oprah has supported over the years. You guys can check out this clip on YouTube where in the Oprah show, Donald Trump teases about running for president. This article, it says, Donald Trump says he wants Oprah Winfrey as his running mate in campaign to become Republican presidential candidate. Here again, he says that he thinks he would easily win the election if him and Oprah stood together. Here in this Daily News article, it says Pope Francis invites Oprah and Matt Damon to the Vatican. Pope Francis invited a host of Hollywood A-listers to the Vatican to discuss perception of the church in Western entertainment. And again, we have the Daily Mail reporting the same thing, that the Pope invites Oprah to the Vatican, but this time to talk about influence of media on values of young people worldwide. Now let's talk about what happened to Oprah. So I'm pretty sure you guys know where I'm going with this section of the video. My conclusion is that Oprah has been replaced since the 1970s. Now, for you skeptics out there that are ready to throw me under the bus and call me crazy, I want you to give this theory a chance, because this time around, I'll not only be using a book on face reading, but I'll be using a face recognition software. Let's take a look at the first 2 images here. So we input 2 images in this website called Pictrieve, and we see that these are 2 different people. Now we go ahead and switch the picture on the right-hand side, and we still see that it's 2 different people. Then we input a different image on the left-hand side, still different people. And then we go ahead and switch the one from the left to the right, and we put a more recent one, still a different person. And again, different people. Now here I went to a different website called betafaceapi.com. I inputted some of Oprah's images and I found that most of them did not match. So here are two images of what I think Oprah really looks like. These were the last images the public saw of Oprah Winfrey. So what I've done here is collected 3 images of Oprah, which are actually 3 different people. But what I want to point out is that based on the book on face reading, we know that certain individuals have a physical trait, whereas when they smile, their top gums are visible. This is not a trait that you can pretend not to have unless you don't smile. And this is not a trait that you can pretend to have. You either have it or you don't. So the picture on the forehand left side, we see that the individual has gums showing when they smile. Okay, and then the images on the right hand side and the middle, you see that no gums visible. Okay, so this is how we know these are different people. Again, I'm not going to debate with you guys in the comment section. If you guys don't own a book on face reading, if you guys have not input these images into a face recognition software, then you have no grounds to debate or argue with me. It's really that simple. You can have your opinion, fine, but that's it. It's like a fart in the wind. Doesn't really matter. Now let's go ahead and look at these 4 different images. So starting from the left hand side, we have 1978, 1983, 1985, and 1989. Again, these are all 4 different people, okay? 4 different people, and the weight gain and loss is just ridiculous through her lifetime. If you really track Oprah's weight history, you could call it, she has been fluctuating like mad. It's crazy how she can gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight. It's just ridiculous. Anyhow, let's take a look at these 3 images again. So on the far right hand side, we see that this Oprah's face is very truncated and her face is very square shaped, whereas the one in the middle is very oval shaped, and she looks like she has makeup on, but the dimensions of her face is elongated. Very clear to see this. This is not up for debate, guys. The one on the right hand side's face is very square shaped and truncated compared to the one in the middle. This is not up for debate. Okay, so those are 2 different individuals. The one in the left hand side obviously is the different person. You can look at the dimensions of her face, completely different from the one in the middle and the one on the right hand side. So again, we're looking at 3 different images. On the left hand side, we have 1997, then in the middle, 1998, and on the right, 2002. Now let's start with the one on the right hand side. We see the face looks very young, and her face compared to the one in the middle is very truncated and shortened, whereas the one on the left hand side is pretty oval and elongated. The one in the middle looks very masculine and is not a match with the one on the right or the one on the left. Now let's take a look at these images here. We're starting from the left hand side, 2002. In the middle we have 2004, and on the right again we have 2004. Now the one on the right hand side, we see that she looks a bit masculine compared to the one in the middle. The one on the left hand side, we have visible gums. Again, this is not something you can pretend to have. Either you have that physical trait or you don't. These are 3 different individuals. So now let's take a look at my final thoughts. So first I want to recommend the book Face Reading, How to Know Anyone at a Glance. Oprah symbolizes the caricature of a mammy, a philanthropist, gossipy, non-threatening, race-baiting, gynocentric black woman, the Medea of talk show television. But where are all the other Oprahs? Where are all the male versions of Oprah? It's very clear that Oprah was selected to represent the American dream. Don't you dare talk about institutional racism, because, hey, look at Oprah. If she made it, anyone can, right? After over $500 million of donations, thousands of scholarships given out, stadium loads of food and aid given out, hundreds of houses built in the wake of natural disasters like Katrina, dozens of charities and foundations supported, and putting her full endorsement behind LGBT and all-girl causes, it still did not affect the racial wealth gap and economic inequality in America. Don't hold your breath for Oprah to build an all-boys school in America. To date, I can't recall Oprah ever doing a project to help black men specifically. All celebrities are either replaced, mind controlled, or under a subtle type of possession. The new celebrities are under strict surveillance to the point, if they step out of line, one of the aforementioned will occur. The only way Oprah could have prevented being replaced would be if she never did the Oprah show and stayed small and grassroots. What if I told you white supremacy doesn't exist? There are forces above what you call white or Jewish supremacy with a reach so unimaginable and capabilities so awesome it would make the most powerful nations in the world kneel and weep. Now I know some of you guys are going to have a problem with the replacement section of the video, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 3 articles at the end of this video that's going to blow your mind, and it's going to make what I just said about replacements seem very plausible. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And until next time, this is Conspiracy Dude. So I know some of you guys are wondering who will be the next president of the United States. Some of my family members have told me that they're going to vote for Bernie Sanders.